Metabolic health is one of those terms that sounds clinical, but actually describes something most people care about deeply. How well your body manages blood sugar, whether your blood pressure stays in range, what happens to your cholesterol over time. These three markers, when they drift out of healthy range together, define metabolic syndrome, a condition that significantly raises the risk of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and stroke. And most people have at least one of these markers trending in the wrong direction without knowing it. Diet is the most consistent lever available for improving metabolic health, and a growing body of research is pointing to a specific fruit that, when eaten daily as a replacement for processed snacks, produces measurable improvements across multiple metabolic markers in as little as 3 months. That fruit is mango. A 2022 study examined the effects of fresh mango consumption on cardiometabolic risk factors in people who were overweight or obese. Participants who added a daily 100-calorie serving of mango to their diet showed improvements in fasting blood glucose, reductions in C-reactive protein, which is a key marker of inflammation, and improved antioxidant capacity compared to those eating a calorie-equivalent processed snack. 3 months of consistent daily consumption produced these changes, and the improvements grew stronger the longer participants continued. The study specifically compared mango against refined snacks like cookies and pretzels at the same calorie count. The point is that mango and a handful of cookies can contain the same number of calories, but what they do inside the body is completely different. Understanding why requires looking at what mango actually contains and how its components interact with the metabolic pathways that determine your health over time. The first mechanism is fiber. 1 cup of mango provides about 2.6 grams of dietary fiber. Fiber slows the absorption of carbohydrates in the digestive tract, which flattens the blood glucose response after eating. When you eat a food that is high in refined carbohydrates and low in fiber, glucose floods the bloodstream rapidly, insulin spikes to clear it, and blood sugar then drops. That repeated cycle, multiple times a day over years, is one of the core drivers of insulin resistance and eventually type 2 diabetes. Mango, because of its fiber content, produces a substantially more gradual glucose release than processed snacks, even though both contain carbohydrates and natural or added sugars. The fiber changes the kinetics of absorption in ways that protect metabolic health. The second mechanism is polyphenols. Mango is rich in bioactive plant compounds, including mangiferin and other polyphenols that function as antioxidants and anti-inflammatory agents. Chronic low-grade inflammation is tightly linked to insulin resistance. Inflammatory signaling molecules interfere with insulin's ability to bind to cell receptors and facilitate glucose uptake, meaning inflammation makes blood sugar harder to control at the cellular level. Polyphenols reduce this inflammatory burden, which improves insulin sensitivity and supports better blood sugar regulation over time. The reduction in C-reactive protein seen in the 2022 study is a direct reflection of this anti-inflammatory activity. A separate 2025 study found that mango consumption improved insulin levels specifically in people with low-grade inflammation, again pointing to the polyphenol insulin sensitivity connection as a meaningful clinical relationship. The third mechanism is gut microbiome support. Mango's fiber and polyphenols together act as prebiotic compounds, meaning they feed beneficial bacteria in the gut. 2 specific bacterial species that mango has been shown to support are bifidobacteria and Akkermansia, both of which are associated with better blood sugar control, reduced systemic inflammation, and improved metabolic balance. A healthier, more diverse gut microbiome produces short-chain fatty acids that have anti-inflammatory effects throughout the body and improve the sensitivity of muscle and fat cells to insulin. The gut metabolic health connection is one of the most active areas of research in nutrition science, and mango sits at an interesting intersection of it. The fourth mechanism involves vascular function. Research including animal studies has suggested that compounds in mango, particularly mangiferin and gallotannins, may support endothelial function, which is the health and flexibility of the inner lining of blood vessels. When blood vessel walls are healthy, they regulate blood pressure more effectively, transport nutrients and waste products efficiently, and resists the inflammatory changes that precede cardiovascular disease. Emerging evidence on mango and endothelial function is still building, but it points to a cardiovascular benefit that extends beyond blood sugar alone. The fifth mechanism is the replacement effect. Mango is sweet, satisfying, and rich enough in fiber to promote feelings of fullness more effectively than processed snacks at the same calorie count. When mango replaces chips, cookies, or pretzels as a daily snack, the change is not just about what is being added to the diet. It is about what is being removed. Highly processed snacks tend to be high in refined carbohydrates, added sugars, sodium, and inflammatory fats, while being low in fiber, vitamins, and phytochemicals. Consistently swapping them out for a whole fruit creates a compounding shift in the daily metabolic environment that, over 3 months, adds up to measurable improvements in the markers that matter. How much mango do you actually need to see these effects? Registered dietitians suggest that 2 to 3 one-cup servings per week produces meaningful benefits, with daily consumption being optimal for those looking to maximize the effect. There is no established precise dose because individual responses vary, but the research used a 100-calorie serving, which is roughly 2/3 to 1 cup of sliced mango, as the daily amount that produced the results. One important framing point from the dietitians who work with this research: mango is not a metabolic cure. One serving of mango does not fix blood sugar any more than one workout builds muscle. The body responds to consistent patterns over time, not to individual heroic meals. The 3-month timeline in the research reflects the fact that metabolic improvements accumulate gradually through repeated daily inputs. A mango eaten today does not immediately alter your insulin sensitivity. 30 or 60 days of daily mango as part of a diet that includes plenty of fiber, protein, and whole foods creates a measurably different metabolic state than the same period of eating processed snacks in that slot. The practical action is simple. If you currently reach for something processed in the afternoon, a bag of chips, a cookie, a packaged snack of whatever variety, replacing that one daily habit with a portion of mango over 3 months is, according to the current evidence, likely to move your blood glucose, inflammation levels, and antioxidant capacity in the right direction. That is a low-effort, high-return dietary change that most people can make without dramatically reorganizing their eating habits. Fresh mango works, and so does frozen, which is available year-round and retains the nutritional profile effectively. It is one of those cases where the science and the palatability are pointing in the same direction. It is also worth contextualizing what metabolic health actually means for daily life, beyond the clinical markers. When blood sugar is stable, energy levels are more consistent throughout the day. You are less likely to experience the mid-afternoon crash that comes from blood sugar spikes and drops. When inflammation is lower, joint comfort tends to improve, sleep quality tends to be better, and cognitive clarity is more consistent. When cholesterol and blood pressure are in healthy range, the cardiovascular system is under less chronic strain. Metabolic health is not just a number on a lab report. It is how you feel and function every day, and it accumulates quietly in one direction or the other based on the repeated daily choices that most people do not think much about. Mango as a daily snack is a small choice. Its effects on the metabolic system are not small when maintained consistently. The research on this is specific enough and the mechanism clear enough that it belongs in the same category as other evidence-backed dietary interventions for metabolic health. Regular fiber intake, reduced processed food consumption, adequate protein, consistent physical activity. It is one piece of a larger pattern, but it is a piece that is genuinely supported by the data. Subscribe for daily health content that explains what the research actually shows. New videos every day.